Welcome to MSP lecture series on the chemistry of main group elements. In my previous lecture I was discussing about various type of phosphates and oxy acids of phosphorus. So, let me discuss today another important class of compounds of phosphorus called polyphosphazenes. So, azenes indicates that we have a double bond between phosphorus and nitrogen. Essentially, these polyphosphazenes can be prepared by mixing finely powdered PCl5 and ammonium chloride in a chlorinated solvent heated to 130 degree centigrade. A preferred solvent is tetrachloroethane. So, it leads to the formation of chlorophosphazines, where N can be 3 or 4 are major products. Of course, up to N equals 7 and 8 are also obtained in this reaction, but in very trace quantities. The cyclic trimer, I will be showing the structure later. Cyclic trimer has a planar 6-membered ring structure. In both cyclic trimer and tetramer, the PN bonds are all same, indicating that delocalized pi bonding occurs between the filled N 2p pi orbitals and the empty acceptor orbitals on the phosphorus atom. So, here essentially if what one can see is this sigma star and here 2p essentially pi. So, this donation is there that delocalizes the pi system over entire ring, making it planar. This we also call it as negative hyperconjugation. Okay. So, this triphosphazine or tetraphosphazine on further heating give polymer of this type. Okay. So, that means when cyclic trimer is heated more strongly, it polymerizes forming a rubbery material. The PCl bonds in this one are susceptible to hydrolysis, but one can perform a series of nucleophilic substitution reactions using OR minus or R2N groups, or one can also use a wide range of functional groups to form stable polymers with a wide range of properties. That means, improved yields of cyclic triphosphazine involves this reaction. That means, reacting tris trimethyl with PCl5 of course, here we get trimethyl chloride as the side product. Okay. So, yields of this trimer can be optimized by ensuring a slow rate of addition of PCl5 to this tris trimethylamine, and once after making this one, of course, one can conveniently heat it further to get the polyphosphazine. Oh, it is very interesting to analyze the reaction sequence. Let us look into the intermediates that are involved in the formation of this trimer starting from phosphorus pentachloride and ammonium chloride. Let me write some of these reactions stepwise. Initially, it leads to the formation of an ionic compound of this type, and now this ammonium plus reacts with PCl6 minus ion to form imine compound, and this imine further reacts with this intermediate, it leads to the formation of okay. So, this essentially gives back Cl3p NH again to form plus. So, this eliminates one molecule of PCl4 plus to form trimeric species. Okay, so these are the sequence of reactions that are involved in the preparation of trimer from PCl5 and ammonium chloride. Okay. So, I have shown here the structures of trimer, tetramer as well as the polymer. Okay. Of course, here if you just look into these structures, P double bond N groups are isoelectronic with SiO group. So, phosphozene materials are also isoelectronic with siloxanes. So, trimer is isoelectronic with Me3SiO 3 times. Okay. Polyphosphozene polymers like the siloxane counterparts contain flexible rubbery properties even at low temperature. This is where the importance of these inorganic polymers comes into picture in various applications. The chlorine atoms of these trimers and tetramers readily undergo nucleophilic substitution. As I had mentioned, you can introduce a variety of groups here. For example, if we take NPCl2 N, where N equals 3 or 4, we can replace Cl by performing nucleophilic substitution reactions. For example, with sodium fluoride, we can get fluorinated compounds, and we can have NH2 using liquid ammonia, and we can add NME to groups by starting from H. So, we can add here can be added, that is it becomes PF2. Simply I write PF2 here, and here I put NH2 2 times, and here I will put PNME2 2 times. Similarly, if we use lithium nitride, we can add PN3 twice. Okay. If we use water, we can add POH twice. Okay. And if we use phenyl lithium, we can have PPH2. Okay. So, this is how one can perform a series of reaction to generate substituted cyclo, tri or tetraphosphazenes. Of course, one can also perform some of those reactions prior to or after polymerization reaction. Like silicon rubber polyphosphazenes remain rubbery at very low temperature because of the PNP linkage. This has delocalized electrons, and similar to SiO(Si), where we have oxygen electrons are associated with silicon sigma star orbitals. So, the molecules are helical and the PNP groups are highly flexible. Okay. So, with this, let us move on to the halides of group 15 elements. All the elements form trihalides with at least one halogen. So, nitrogen is restricted to an octet of valence electrons and does not form pentahalides. And important nitrogen halides are NX3, where X is fluorine or chlorine, and also we know besides NX3, that is NF3 and NCl3, N2F4 and N2F2 are also known. Except for NF3, nitrogen trihalides have limited stability, and nitrogen triiodide is dangerously explosive, and phosphorus, arsenic and antimony form stable pentahalides like PCl5, ASCl5 and SbCl5. Okay. Nitrogen trifluoride is made either by the reaction which must be carried out in a very controlled manner, or by electrolysis of anhydrous NH4F and HF mixtures. For example, when NH3 is treated with fluorine over a copper catalyst, NF3 is formed. Okay. So, NF3 is the most stable halides of nitrogen, and it has a pyramidal structure. Okay. And it is a colorless gas which is resistant to attack by acids and alkalis, but is decomposed by parking with H2. So, 2NF3, when it is kept along with H2, it gives N2 through the formation of HF. And nitrogen trichloride is an oily yellow liquid at 289 Kelvin, but it is highly endothermic and dangerously explosive. Nitrogen trichloride can be prepared by the following reaction, simply by treating ammonium chloride with chlorine. Okay. So, alkalis hydrolyze NCl3, that means if you take NCl3 and treat with alkalis, we get nitrogen. Of course, in case if you use sodium hydroxide, we get NaOCl and NaCl. Okay. So, nitrogen tribromide is very reactive than NCl3 and explodes at temperature 175 Kelvin. That indicates how reactive it is. It can be prepared by treating this trimethyl bromoamine with BRCl. So, this reaction has to be carried out at very low temperature in pentane. It gives NBr3 plus we get 2Me3SiCl. Okay. Nitrogen fluorides N2F4 and N2F2 can be obtained by simply treating NF3 with copper at higher temperature. For example, if we take NF3 and pass it over copper at 670 Kelvin, it gives N2F4 plus CuF2. Okay. Similarly, if we take N2F4 and treat this one with aluminum chloride at 203 Kelvin, it forms trans N2F2 . Okay, so this one, if it is on heating to 273 Kelvin, gives N2F2. That means one can perform isomerization by heating the trans one to 273 Kelvin to form a cis compound. Okay, of course, one should be able to distinguish this as trans and this as cis. Okay. The ability of N2F2 to donate F minus to strong acceptors is quite known. That means it can be used as a good fluorinating agent, especially when we have strong fluorine acceptors. Let me write a couple of reactions for that. N2F4, when it is treated with very strong fluorine acceptors such as AsF5, it forms N2F3 and AsF6. Similarly, N2F4, when it is treated with antimony pentafluoride, it forms a dimeric species having SPF, SP bridge. Okay. Oxyfluorides and oxychlorides of nitrogen are also known. You can see here they have a structure like this where X can be fluorine, chlorine or bromine, and you can see the bond distances here, and of course bond distances have to do something with the size of X here, and whereas NO bond essentially remains very same 113 to 115. There is no dramatic increase or decrease in the NO bond distance, whereas this one is quite obvious because of the change of the halides. One can expect this bond distance should change. So, several oxyfluorides and oxychlorides of nitrogen are quite known, but all are unstable gases or volatile liquids which are rapidly hydrolyzed, and nitrosyl halides like FNO, ClNO, BrNO are formed in the reactions of NO with F2, Cl2 or Br2. Nitrile fluorides like FnO2 and nitrile chloride like ClNO2 can also be prepared respectively by fluorination of N2O4 or chlorination. The oxyhalides such as FNO, ClNO, FnO2, ClNO2 combine with suitable fluorides or chlorides to give salts containing NO plus or NO2 plus. Okay. So, let us now look into the phosphorus halides. As I have mentioned, phosphorus forms two type of halides. One is trivalent having px3 and composition, and another one is pentavalent having px5. So, in case of halides, for all the 4 halides px3 is known, and in case of px5 it is only known for fluorine, chlorine and bromine, whereas pi5 is unknown, and most are made by direct combination of elements with products determined by which element is in excess. The halides are all hydrolyzed by water. Although PF3 reacts very slowly, PF bonds are much more stable for hydrolysis compared to PCl or PBr or even Pi bonds. Phosphorus trifluoride is a very poisonous, colorless and odorless gas. Phosphorus trichloride is a colorless liquid with melting point 179.5 Kelvin and boiling point 349 Kelvin, and of course PCl3 emits fumes in air and is toxic, and PCl3 is the starting compound for many of the phosphorus derivatives and also phosphines like tertiary phosphines. They find important application as soft ligands in organometallic chemistry as well as coordination chemistry. Okay. POCl3 is an important reagent for the preparation of phosphate esters. In case of PF5, single crystal X-ray diffraction carried out at very low temperature of 109 Kelvin has shown that it has trigonal bipyramidal structure. In solution, the molecule is fructional on the NMR spectroscopic time scale. As a result, when we do phosphorus NMR, we cannot distinguish between axial and equatorial PF bonds. And as a result, what happens, it accounts for only one type of fluorine atoms. So, when we look into the phosphorus NMR, it shows only one type of fluorine atoms, and of course, in case of 19 fluorine NMR, we simply get a doublet that accounts for only one type of PF coupling, and it does not show any FF coupling. For example, if you take, this is how the structure look like. If you look into 19F NMR, all of them are equivalent, because through Berry pseudo rotation, I had already explained what is Berry pseudo rotation, how that proceeds via a square pyramidal intermediate in which axial bonds are changed into equatorial bonds. So, 19F NMR, it shows only a doublet, something like this, whereas in case of 31P NMR, it shows 6 lines. Something like this. Here it indicates all PF bonds are equivalent. This is because of 1J PF coupling. Okay, and of course, whatever the spacing is there is same as this one. And you may be wondering why 5 peaks are there. We will use this 2Ni plus 1 rule here, and of course 2 into N is number of fluorine atoms, 5, into its spin is half, nuclear spin in this case also I equals half plus 1, this gives 6 lines. On the other hand, in case of 19F NMR, again only 1 is there. This is in case of 31P NMR. In case of 19F NMR, we have only 1. Again, if we use 2 Ni plus 1 phosphorus is there, and I is half plus 1. So, essentially it will give you 2 lines. So, we get a doublet here. The stereochemical non-rigidity is another example of Berry pseudo rotation that we come across in case of PF5. So, electron diffraction data show that in the gas phase PCl5 has a molecular trigonal bipyramidal structure, okay, where the axial PCl bond distance is 214 picometer, whereas PCl equatorial is 202. You should remember always axial bonds are little longer. In the solid state, PCl5 has a totally different structure. It is ionic and made up of PCl4 plus and PCl6 minus. Okay. And of course, when PCl5 is reacted with ASF3, fluorination occurs for the octahedral phosphorus. That means, when PCl5 is reacted with ASF3 in AsCl3 solution, what it gives is PCl4 and PF6, okay, and the melting point for this one is 403 Kelvin. So, fluorination occurs for the octahedral phosphorus. Okay. So, what kind of geometries these halides prefer? Okay. So, in the gas phase, MCl5 adopt trigonal bipyramidal geometry. One can derive that one using valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. In the solid state, the situation is more complicated. So, that means PCl5 does not exist as a trigonal bipyramidal molecule. Instead, it has a composition of PCl4 plus and PCl6 minus, but in metastable state, it also assumes a composition of this type. Something like this. So, in contrast to PCl5, PBr5 contains plus and Br minus. So, this shows how different these phosphorus halides are with respect to their structures. So, before I conclude, let me show you Berry pseudo rotation mechanism here. You can see here, I have just marked in different color to denote axial and equatorial halides. Okay. So, now basically what happens, these two will be moving towards each other, and then these two will be moving away from each other, and we have an intermediate of this one. Okay. It resembles square pyramidal molecule, and then now the exchange is complete. Axial has become equatorial and equatorial has become axial. So, this is very rapid at room temperature in case of PF5. As a result, what happens, we cannot distinguish between equatorial and axial PF bonds. Okay. So, let me discuss more chemistry of phosphorus halides in my next lecture. Until then, have a pleasant reading of inorganic chemistry of phosphorus compounds. Thank you very much.